Welcome back, friends. Last guy here. Time for the Great Ace Attorney Voice LP. This might be the final episode. I'm not sure. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of revelation, but we still don't know who killed Genshin. And we don't know who is the father of a certain widow girl. So maybe this will clear it up. Let's find out. The 19th century was a truly miraculous 100 years for Great Britain, and indeed the whole world. New industry, new technology, and with the birth of the new industry, new technology, and with the birth of the Metropolitan Police Service, new law and order. But these dazzling new developments meant ever deeper shadows were cast on society. Water sullied by factories, air thick with noxious fumes, and crime, growing daily to fill the darkness. Lord Clint von Zieks made it his mission to combat that darkness. But as time went on, it slowly ate at his soul, until eventually, he was consumed. So the people killed were bad people? It's ironic, really, and somewhat surprising, that the truth has once again been unearthed. By a Japanese. Once again? What do you mean? 10 years ago, your father, Genshin Asugi, turned up at my office one night. The professor? Yes, beyond all shadow of doubt. You must issue a warrant to search his home at once. Don't be absurd. The man comes from one of our country's most illustrious families. He's a paragon of justice here in the capital. Yes, that's the point. That's why none of you British can see it. He's using his noble status as a diversion, whilst he commits those atrocious crimes behind the scenes. Do you have evidence? Nothing definitive as yet. But he keeps an enormous savage hound on the estate. We need the full support of the judiciary for this. We're up against a member of the aristocracy. So a large family estate has a fierce guard dog. You should know that's commonplace here in Britain. I'm sorry, but I can't possibly put Scotland Yard onto this based on the tenuous accusations of a visiting student. So I turned down Asugi's plea, and as a result, he took it upon himself to visit the Van Zieks mansion on his own. We can only imagine now what happened between the two men. Though we know the outcome, of course, Lord Clint von Zieks perished. I don't believe this. So, in actual fact, Kazuma-sama's father did. He made the late Lord von Zieks meet the same fate. He put a permanent end to the professor killings by taking the drastic measure of ending the perpetrator's life. As soon as I heard, I hurried to the mansion. When I arrived, it was easy to grasp what had happened. And what about the will? Asugi must have already taken it. Nothing of that nature was found at the scene. We had no idea of the existence of such a document at the time. I was the only person who knew of the true identity of the professor. So I resolved to keep it a secret, and to guard the secret to the bitter end. So you're admitting to it? That you were behind it all? It was you, then, who pinned the crimes on my father. I did what needed to be done in order to protect the law and order of the British Empire. Even if that meant employing an unforgivable ruse. Then it was you who arranged this fabricated evidence. I ordered that detective to take care of it, whilst keeping the truth from him, naturally. Gregson? Obviously, he opposed me at first. Are you off your rocker? We can't do something like that. There's no question that it was Asogi who murdered Lord von Zeeks. The house staff have made statements that they saw the men running from the mansion that night. Yes, well, I've no doubt it was that Japanese fella. But we haven't got a shred of conclusive evidence against the man. And worse than that, he doesn't keep a dog, so we're short a murder weapon to boot. And we're short on time, Gregson. We must put a stop to this man's rampage, for the good of the country. So we'll use whatever means necessary. Do I make myself clear, Detective? Blimey. So that night 10 years ago, when I was attacked by those thugs in the back streets, and Genshin's ring was taken, that was him, was it? That was Gregson and some hired help? Then the detective handed the stolen ring to Dr. Wilson, who feigned its discovery from the victim's stomach during that autopsy. And in light of that decisive evidence, Mr. Asogi was found guilty of the charges brought against him. However, behind the scenes, he had actually already struck a deal with his accusers, in which he agreed to silently accept the charges. But I just don't believe that part. As far as I knew the man, my father despised such underhanded dealings. It was extremely easy to make him comply. You see, he had one crippling weakness. His nakama? What weakness? Isn't it obvious? You, Kazuma Asogi. What? How's that the weakness? Me? Perhaps you have no desire to return to your homeland, Asogi. What? Though I hear you have a 14-year-old son. Agree to cooperate and accept your guilt without contention. And you will see Japan, and your son again. You scoundrel! Whether you choose wisely or not, it will be a closed trial by order of Her Majesty. So whatever rash claims you might make in court, we'll have no trouble in stifling them. There's only one outcome for you, Asogi. The gallows. Don't forget that I still have a weapon at my disposal. A document revealing a truth that I know you're desperate to keep hidden. Yes, it hadn't escaped my mind, which is the only reason I'm willing to bargain with you. I only want to protect this country's law and order. You understand? So, what's it to be, Asogi? Kazuma. He did it for me? He did it for me. As I told him at the time, my motive was simply to protect Britain from the damage the truth would do. I'm doing this voice wrong. To protect this country's law and order, at any cost. Gotta do that a little better. Yeah, I need to change that voice a little bit, because I know it's a little off. I've never dared let myself even consider this possibility until now. But in the light of all this, treachery, I have to ask? The mastermind behind the reaper of the Bailey. Was it you, Lord Male Strongheart? A rather brilliant idea, wouldn't you say? Lord Baroque von Zeeks? That the spirit of your late brother, that paragon of justice, should return to reap justice for his sibling. Could there be a more appetizing tale for London's masses, I ask you? What? What brazen? I knew that you'd play the part of perfection. That your role really wasn't that of some embodiment of death. No, you were London's guardian angel. An angel with bloody hands? I think not. Those who had cooperated with me already were only too happy to participate in my plan. Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson. My minions worked tirelessly to ensure that the finger of guilt could never come to rest on you. It's all thanks to them that you were exalted as the demigod the Reaper became. Prince Adam. But Dr. Wilson left Britain 4 years ago when he was invited to work in Japan. That's right. So I had to employ the services of his young protege after that. Dr. Courtney Scythe. Dr. Scythe? So what with the execution of the Professor and the subsequent reign of the Reaper of the Bailey? I have successfully safeguarded law and order in our mighty capital for the past decade. That is everything. My lords, ladies, and gentlemen, I do hereby confess, it was I who sired the concept of the Reaper. However, let me say in my defense, it was all for the preservation of law and order across the entire Empire. Lord Strongheart did it? An unforgivable collection of crimes, but still. All those who died in the Reaper's hands were rotten to the core anyway. It was all in aid of keeping London safe. There's no one left now who can reveal the precise truth of what happened 10 years ago. Therefore, this trial can go no further. Now, I would like to entreat all those present. Beyond these four walls, nobody need know the truth. Even Her Majesty must be protected from this. I trust you all appreciate the importance of my request. It is, of course, for the good of the country. There's one thing left to do, and that's to catch him on killing Genshin and all the other people. Can he do this? Can the trial really end now?
Hold it!
Of course not. I have one last question. Who are the accused Lord Von Zeeks? What? Of course I know that you're a highly accomplished prosecutor, so I find it hard to believe that you didn't have any doubts at all. That you never suspected your older brother. Yes, the same thought occurred to me. It was only once, but yes, I couldn't say that I never had any doubts. Huh? My brother's sense of justice was extremely strong. Perhaps too strong, I observed. At that time, there were members of the aristocracy who were bleeding the country dry for their own gain. And since they were nobles, they were untouchable. For my brother, it was a source of great turmoil. And coincidentally, at the same time, the Professor began his terrifying reign. During the time of the Professor killings, my brother did not appear to be himself. And that made you suspect? Yes. But it was only once, not more. Only once, really? Clint wasn't the culprit. That was my conclusion at the time. And I still believe that now. Do you have any evidence to support that idea? The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time. It was he who had recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. No matter what the circumstances, it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. That does put Strongheart at the top. That will do. Neither Clint, Von Zeeks, nor Genshin Osogi still walk this earth. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. But... There are only two extant pieces of evidence from the time. The woebegone ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin Asogi. And the 3-page last will and testament penned in black ink and left behind by the man. 3-page? Isn't it only 2 pages? Three-page? The wretched truth of what happened is exactly as I've explained. 3 pages! Oh, he just slipped! Oh, snap! Later today, I will present myself at the Ministry of Justice for whatever sanction it is deemed appropriate. That is all. Court is adjourned. Somebody say hold it. No one says hold it? Objection. There it is. Ryanowski's got something. Thank you, Kazuma. Me? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made this 11th hour discovery. What discovery? My lord, I'm afraid I must insist the trial continues. I beg your pardon? As the court has been reminded today already, we must stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth. And to that end, one particular statement made by somebody in this courtroom moments ago, there it is, revealed a very subtle contradiction. What contradiction? But all I did was ask the accused one simple question. Sit down. But all I did was ask the accused one simple question. Well, it began with Lord Von Zeeks and his recollection about his brother. But Lord Strongheart didn't permit the defendant to speak at length. I merely pointed out that we can draw no further useful conclusions here. So where on earth is the contradiction? One of them definitely just said something contradictory. It's time to identify who. Strongheart. It was Lord Strongheart. I'm sure of it. Something he said was slightly off. Come on, Ryunosuke. Think back over his words. Come on, Ryunosuke. Think back over his words. Find the problem. I already know what it is. Are they really reiterating this? Okay. Neither Clint Von Zeeks nor Genshin Asogi still walk this earth. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. There are only 2 extant pieces of evidence from the time. The woebegone ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin Asogi, and the 3-page last will and testament penned in blackened ink and left behind by the man. Lord Strongheart, would you care to explain? Explain what, Counsel? Among the statements you made just a few moments ago, something you said was inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence we have. Inconsistent? And whilst an inconsistency remains, the defense has a right to pursue an explanation. They really don't, actually. Ryunosuke, what? Let me warn you about the statements you are making, Counsel. They may very well prove fatal. You claim my words contained a contradiction. You claim my words contained a contradiction. With which piece of evidence, I ask you? The Asogi papers. This one. This here is the will left behind by Mr. Asogi. The 2-paged will. What? Yet moments ago, your precise words were the 3-page last will and testament. Ah. Could it be that originally that there was a 3rd page? For a moment, I thought perhaps you'd identified something worthwhile. But it's a mere trifle, I see. A trifle? Governor Caden. What can I do for you, sir? You were present when the Japanese man penned his last will and testament? Aye, I was there for sure. I remember the black weird like scrolls to this day. And I'm quite certain, my lord, that there was a 3rd page at the time. So that's what he was unsure about. What? Only the first 2 pages were the actual will, though. If I mind correctly, the third was a message to his lad back in Japan. For legal purposes, we required only his will. I wouldn't have wanted any uncomfortable words about Britain to get back to Japan, eh? So it was decided that the 3rd page oughtn't to be sent.
Objection!
How dare you make that decision? I had a right to know what it said, to hear my father's final words to me. The courtroom is no place for sentimentality, Counsel. As it happens, I have the 3rd page of the document with me here now. My father's message? It will be given to you at the end of these proceedings. It'll be too late once the trial is over. We need to know what it says now. Even the slightest thing may give us a vital clue. Now this case never ends. My lord, the defense calls for Genshin Asogi's last words to his son to be read out loud before the court now. Your request is denied. The inevitably maudlin words can be of no consequence now.
Objection!
The prosecution agrees. The court should know the content of that message. Every possible piece of evidence must be thoroughly examined. Very well then, Governor Caden. You will read the 3rd page of the document for all present to hear. Yes, sir. Only, I should point out, my lord, that I can actually read Wedam language. Yeah, right? Who says Barry? Who says Barry? Who says Barry? Who would call... Okay, his name is Barry. I thought it was like... bigger than Barry. Oh, okay. This beautiful handwriting? Shame on you, Betty. Is it? No, it's him, Mikatoba. It's beautiful handwriting. Shame on you, Barry. If I could be of assistance here, I would be happy to translate the words into English for the court. Father. Of course he's here. I thought Freegan Shum showed up. You're still here, are you, Dr. Mikatoba? Naturally, I consider myself a member of the judiciary, albeit a lowly one. But perhaps I should quietly withdraw after I've translated Genshin's message. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Alright, now we're reading the papers. Kazuma, the truth is shrouded in darkness. A darkness only our clan's great sword can pierce. Mighty Karuma, twist thy head and watch them fall. All thy mortal foes. Yep, I thought so. It's in the sword. It's in the sword handle part. That's the end of the message, it would seem. A haiku poem? Twist thy head? Father. What is Karuma? The name of the Asogi clan's famous sword. A razor-sharp blade known to all, passed down for generations. It embodies the Japanese spirit. It's not known to me. It's the katana sword that was submitted as evidence earlier in these proceedings. The one worn by the prosecution counsel when he confronted Inspector Gregson. Details of Asogi papers have been updated. All these procrastinations are beginning to try my patience. Adjournment of this court is long overdue. As presiding judge, I have been as accommodating as possible of the will of the courtroom. However, despite all that, no new information has come to light. In pursuit of justice, Lord Clint von Zeeks tragically lost all sense of morality. When he murdered his former mentor, clearly he was already devoid of his normal faculties.
Objection!
How dare you! I refuse to believe that of my brother. Too much time has passed. We cannot ever hope to know more than we do now. Especially since the alleged will that he penned in his final moments appears to have been lost forever. It's in the sword! Lord Strongheart, you appear to be in something of a hurry to wrap things up. I wonder why. We've heard you state time and again during these proceedings that everything you did was in the interests of protecting British law and order. And I stand by that. Without the Reaper, we could never have achieved the reduction in crime the capital has seen.
Objection!
What about Inspector Gregson, then? And Dr. Wilson? They were no criminals. You used them to achieve your ends, and then you had them killed. However you dress it up, there was nothing fair or just about that. Lord Strongheart, what exactly is it that you're hiding? Dr. Mikatoba, were you not to quietly withdraw after the translation of your former associate's will? In this courtroom, no argument carries weight unless it is supported by evidence. And it would seem that the defense has no more evidence to present. In which case, I hereby order all discourse from these proceedings to be struck from the record. This is my last chance. My last chance. Mr. Narahoda, I have to present some decisive evidence now, or it's all over. But can I? Present evidence. Wait, my lord. As it happens, the defense does have evidence to present. What? Don't be absurd. There's nothing of relevance remaining from the time.
Objection!
It's high time that you realize something, my lord. Huh? This gentleman has an uncanny habit of producing evidence at the final hour that had escaped everyone else's attention. Nonsense! What is it, Ryunosuke? What do you have? Listen to that music. I dare say, the final decisive piece of evidence that will reveal the whole truth about this rotten tale. How can you... Decisive? Well, it would appear there's no escaping it now, my lord. Let it be so, then. Present whatever you think you have that can settle this decade-old enigma, if you're capable. What exactly is this evidence that the defense claims to be so decisive? It's the sword! The question is, do I search the sword or not first? Let's say to be sure. Search the sword first, just in case I gotta present what's in the sword. Examine. There it is, twist the head. Mighty Kuruma, twist thy head and watch them fall, all thy mortal foes. That's the proper way to use the sword, is it? Maybe I should try it. It hurts my neck, that's the trouble. Mr. Narahodo, if I might make a suggestion. I think perhaps it doesn't mean your head. Oh! I once studied the history and development of the katana some time ago. And as I'm sure you're probably aware, the sword's head is the part at the very end of the hilt. Yeah, this part. It's written as head in Japanese, but it's pronounced as Kashira, I believe. Kashira? So Mr. Isogi's words really mean twist the butt of the hilt? You don't think... Do it. There it is. Yup. Ah. Look what's inside. Is that... a tightly wound sheet of parchment? There it is, in red. Scarlet ink? It's written in scarlet ink! I penned this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. This is it, isn't it? Mr. Narahoda, look at the signature at the end. Yeah, Clint von Zieks. Clint von Zieks? And the date, 10 years ago, on that fateful night! So for 10 years, it's been silently concealed inside Karuma and nobody knew. The last will and testament of Clint von Zieks. Wait! Oh my goodness! Look at this! This is unbelievable! Clint von Zieks, yep, trump card. Alright. Let's read the thing. Trump card left behind by Genshin Asogi. Oh, I can't actually read it. I have to present it because we're going to read it in a minute. There is a single piece of evidence that can clarify what really happened 10 years ago. The last one testament of Lord Clint von Zieks. Ha! A wonderfully astute observation, I'm sure. But in case it had escaped your notice, that document was lost long ago. That's right, it was. Only... I have it right here. Discovered just moments ago. Huh? Oh shit! It's like, oh... I'm impossible. That can't be. Everything that's happened comes back to this will. This document is the key that will unlock the entire mystery. Oh, look at that face! Oh, oh my god. You knew he was gonna crack eventually. My brother's last will and testament? Where did you find that? I'm holding the sword? What? It was rolled up inside this. Inside Karuma. That ultimate weapon Genshin Asogi obtained has lain undisturbed in the hilt of the sword all these years. Just waiting for the right time to emerge and reveal the truth. The signature and seal certainly look official. Ah, my god, it's true. It's my brother's handwriting. There can be no mistake. The other guy's left now? Like, I'm nothing out. I forbid the contents of the document from being read out. Do you hear me? I strictly forbid it.
Objection!
Too bad. You can't do that, my lord. This document could explain everything. That document could literally destroy the meaning of justice in this country. I demand that you hand it to me. At once. Why? What are you trying to hide? Could it be that you already know what's written on this page? What are you implying? Court is adjourned with immediate effect. Clear the courtroom.
Objection!
Nope. Wine. Do that, my lord. And you'll suffer a fatal blow as Lord Chief Justice. I beg your pardon? Forcibly ending a trial without good reason? And not any trial, a closed trial by order of Her Majesty the Queen. To defy the monarch's will is treason. Ugh. Oh man. Lord Clint von Zieks really did pen a will that day. This guy was a young Japanese man said. Read it out, now! We have a right to hear what's in that will. A right and a duty. Well, my lord. It would rather appear as though proceedings aren't going quite as you'd hoped. You fools. Go ahead, Ryunosuke, read it. The prosecution gives its full support. Alright, very well then. No, for God's sake. No! Oh, my throat. Alright, he's lost it. I penned this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. The hour is 11 p.m., and I sit at my writing desk in my office. My good friend Asogi stands at my shoulder. He has expressed his intent to invoke the dying ritual of the duel, that I may depart this world with honor. In honor of which I am utterly undeserving. The Japanese are a truly merciful people. They had a duel? I, Clint von Zieks, Lord of the Manor of the Von Zieks Estate, hereby confess to the following. I am the killer who has come to be known in society as the Professor, guilty of 4 counts of murder. I will not here discourse the corruption rife among the aristocracy, which is to me, as one of them, so apparent. However, 6 months ago, I took the life of a member of the House of Lords at the heart of the depravity. A demon who habitually sacrificed the common man to further his own interests, abusing his position of power. The law is impotent against such vile avarice. Only a fellow demon can rid society of this menace. Yep. that demon was my quarry, upon whom I willingly set my great hound. But though I am a hunter of some experience, I am a poor felon, it seems. My guilt was at once recognized by another, and I became subject to his extortion. He held over me the threat of exposing my wicked crime to my beloved wife and brother. Under that threat, I have done this man's bidding for months now, killing those he demanded I kill. So he only killed the first. On his own choice. As I watched my former mentor perish before my eyes at the jaws of the hound I commanded, I realized that I had lost the last shred of decency within me, and sunk to the level of a wild beast. There is no path back to the light, be it I or my dear friend Osogi who dies this night. I am eternally damned. Oh, he wrote the will before the duel. To my extortioner, male Strongheart, may you feel the jaws of the beast at your throat every time you swallow. There it is, extortioner's male Strongheart. He's smiling. So now we know, yes, Clint von Zeeks was a murderer. But somebody was directing him and naming his victims. His extortioner, Lord Male Strongheart. It was you! Lord Strongheart, a moment ago, you claimed that what the court has just heard could destroy justice in this country. But you weren't trying to protect justice at all. All you were trying to do was conceal the secret of your true nature and the countless lives you've sacrificed up till now. It just didn't make sense to me that the third victim, the former Lord Chief Justice, was my brother's benefactor and a man of lofty principles. As I said, Clint had no possible reason to kill the man. But you did, didn't you, Lord Strongheart? To eliminate the man who stood between you and the office you'd set your sights on. I lost the voice for the moment. So you used your own hunting dog, Lord Clint von Zeeks, to take him down. It had to be done. Huh? London's unsavory shadows are deep, and the arm of the law fails to reach their depths. Crime must be cut off at the roots, but the Lord Chief Justice at the time couldn't see that. He was weak. Lofty principles, you say? Tantamount to cowardice, if you ask me. Which is why I took his place, in order to fight the crime he was allowing to spread like wildfire. By murdering the man? The Reaper, the Professor. The name makes no difference. As I've explained countless times already, it was all done for the furtherance of law and order in London.
Objection!
Are you going to legitimize the murder of my father now, too? I can't find the voice at the moment. Ah, Genshin Asugi. Well, that was unfortunate. I had fully intended to send him back to Japan as we'd agreed. I don't believe you. It was you, wasn't it? You killed him. No, it wasn't me who took your father's life. Then who? Not Gumshoe, was it? On the night following his mock execution, I went to Lowgate Cemetery at 3 in the morning with Jigoku. Jigoku? That's why he has him by the balls. He had him do it. There had to be a collaborator on the Japanese side to manage Asogi's treatment after his repatriation. Jigoku had fierce ambition. It made him easy to manipulate. 10 years ago, after he'd stood trial for the destruction of the witness stand, I had words with him. When I told him the position of Minister of Foreign Affairs could be his, he couldn't agree fast enough. Seshiro, you fool! As you know, Asogi escaped the prison in a closed casket and was subsequently interred. We intended to dig him up out of his grave before he ran out of air. But sadly, all did not go as planned. Ah! Now this guy! He dug him up first! There was an unexpected visitor to the cemetery with his own ideas about digging up graves. A man who witnessed what nobody was supposed to see. Enoch Drebber. Of course, I knew grave robbers frequented London cemeteries. But that grave on that particular night... Blast, if people find out the convict wasn't really executed, the scandal will rock the very foundations of the Empire. Then what do we do? Shoot him, Mr. Jigoku. Shoot Sasogi at once. He can't live now that this has happened. He has to go. What are you talking about? You had an agreement. You promised him he could return to Japan. Everything has changed now. If the truth got out because of this, both of us would be finished forever. Huh? Come on, Jigoku, do it. Pull the trigger. Shoot! Bang! That's amazing aim considering how hard it is to shoot guns, like, accurately. With a man who most likely has never shot a gun before? Are you kidding me? How did Jigoku know how to aim that so well? Jigoku shot Asogi from the shadows. The grave robber was so close the blood sprayed over his coat. He fled as fast as his legs would carry him. Then Jigoku and I put Asogi's body back in the grave from which he'd just emerged. When I later learned of the waxwork modeler's presence at the scene as well, I made her swear to two things. Never to remove the professor's mask, and never to speak of the events of that night. And yet she did both! And with that, the secret was buried along with Asogi's corpse. So, now you know what really happened in Logate Cemetery that night. Huh. Very quiet. Doctor. It was Jigoku, your Japanese acquaintance, who killed Asogi in the end, you see? He claimed to be the man's friend, but when push came to shove, he pulled the trigger. Just before Mr. Jigoku left the courtroom earlier, he said that the assassin exchange proposal was a demand from his British counterpart, not a request. So you coerced him too, using what happened in the graveyard. At that time, Jigoku was the Minister of Foreign Affairs negotiating international treaties with Britain. You can imagine what would have happened if it came to light he'd murdered a compatriot 10 years earlier. He would have lost everything. I merely reminded him of that. How do you sleep at night? On a silk bed. These past 10 years, I've fought tirelessly with the darker recesses of London's criminal underworld. And I've used whatever means necessary to ensure that justice prevails and law and order reign supreme.
Objection!
That couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is, you haven't fought crime at all. How dare you? I saved Clint von Zieks from dishonor and his death.
Objection!
Whilst behind the scenes, you systematically buried anyone who stood in your way. And then you made my father take the blame. It was unavoidable. It was the only way to protect our justice system and public order. Let's not forget the others you had killed as well. Sudden defended up as the Reaper to cover up the truth behind the murders of countless more. That's... enough! You have any idea of the conniving that led to the acquittals of those wretched criminals? We have to fight fire with fire. Our courts can't function without a Reaper. Can't you see all I've done for this country? This has been my struggle.
Objection!
You've done nothing. It's Lord von Zieks here who worked tirelessly and justly in court, whilst enduring the disgrace of the Reaper name. And Inspector Gregson fought with anguish for having sullied his hands through a desire to do the right thing. Not to mention Genshin Asogi risked his life going in pursuit of the truth he tried to hide. No, the darker recesses of London's underworld were largely filled by you. Kinda bullshit, considering we did deal with a very corrupt man. We got to see how shitty the court system worked in this game. So, I'm not all for the dog pile on this man right now. Now, he did messed up things. But, no. We see it every day. We see rich people get off on bullshit, so... No! 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 We're in a time where we just see bullshit being put in court all the time, and we're just like, what the hell? Nothing's happening. The rich get off with affluenza and other bullcrap like that, while the rest of us get treated with the harshest letter of the law. So I'm not exactly on the high horse that Rinosuke and Kazuma are on right now. You little, when will you get it through your thick skulls? That was all for Queen and Country. I'm tiring of that excuse. You've consistently twisted the truth from bargaining power to make others do your bidding, nothing more. Strongheart's also, like, spearheaded forensics. He spearheaded so many things. Like, he's spearheading the future of law. And so is Jigoku. That's the thing, is these guys with bloody hands are spearheading important things. That's the problem. People who willingly twist the truth and coerce others have no right to call themselves part of the judiciary. I strongly suggest we don't ever talk of justice again. He's yelling again. Yeesh. Did he snap? Okay. Well, well, well. Dear me, my good fellows, dear me. A well-deserved round of applause, I think, for quite a marvelous performance. What are you talking about? Those delightfully grave expressions, that beautifully pronounced Queen's English. Really, our friends from the Far East are quite the picture of industriousness. You fraud, keep your mockery. Please don't misunderstand. It really is exactly as you've both said. What are you trying to say? I have occupied the darker recesses of London's underworld and, how did you put it? Done nothing? I confess it's a little embarrassing to have it pointed out quite so starkly, but yes, I really have done nothing, which means I can be indicted for nothing. No? What? Masterminding a plot kinda is still implicated. You can still be implicated on that. What are you talking about? It's true. Personally, I have committed no crime. I've merely been surrounded by fools who've acted very rashly indeed.
Objection!
He's done plenty of conspiracy. You can't get away with that. You've consistently preyed on people's weaknesses. And what? Threatened them? Are you sure it wasn't just bargaining? Blackmail? You can go... Is blackmail not a thing yet? Like, is blackmail not a thing yet at this time period? I would like to address all the good lords, ladies and gentlemen of the judiciary here present. You all know of these dark recesses in our great capital, and deep down I believe you also know that to fight those who dwell there requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves. That's like spies and CIA and things like that. So let me appeal to your good sense now. Consider the situation with me. This catalogue of horrifying revelations were to become common knowledge among the 6 million inhabitants of London. What might happen? Blackmailing again! To learn that the infamous murderers of royals and nobles was a respected member of the aristocracy himself. That evidence was fabricated in the scapegoat's trial in secret negotiations with prosecutors to effect a jailbreak. That the Reaper of the Bailey was an organized group of assassins managed by a Scotland Yard inspector. And finally, that it was all masterminded by the Lord Chief Justice himself. If the general public of Britain knew the truth, all faith in the police and prosecutor's office would be completely lost, without doubt. Can't get the voice right now. Public order in the capital would completely break down. We'd be cast back to the lawless days of the last century. Precisely as it was 100 years ago, when 1 in 10 of the population were criminals. Think what we've accomplished since then. A public policing force, a comprehensive set of laws. And if we want to continue to protect this new era of law and order, I say again, we must at times occupy the darkness ourselves. The thing is, like, you're trying to do better than the past, you're trying to do better than the barbarism of before. And the question is, like, who gets to do that, I suppose? There's a lot of philosophy going on in this final bit. We have successfully identified and apprehended the man responsible for taking Inspector Gregson's life. That is all that was expected of this trial. All these other matters have been discussed. All these matters that have been discussed will be eliminated from the minutes of these proceedings in the interest of preserving law and order. And to protect our Queen... and to protect Her Majesty the Queen, of course. Well, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, what say you? Rabble, 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 rabble. He has a point. The things Lord Stronghead has done are quite unforgivable. But on the other hand, isn't our duty to maintain law and order in the capital? Can't deny that the Thread of the Reaper over the years has done wonders for the crime rate. And by fair means or foul, that's all thanks to Lord Strongheart. Oh my god, Strongheart, 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 Strongheart. Oh my god. Are you hearing this? This is the will of the British judiciary? Oh my god, he's gloating now. Your arousing response, friends. I express my heartfelt gratitude. Therefore, in accordance with the overwhelming wishes of the court, the record shall be erased. You have to respect the man's ability to turn a situation to his favor. Lord Strongheart really is a master of manipulation. You've conclusively proven his guilt. Yet still he manages to evade justice. I just don't know what we can do. Hold the rabbit's ears. Ryunosuke. It looks like the trial really is going to come to an end now. I'm almost out of options, I think. Rabbit ears. There's really only one path left open to me. Use evidence. Yes, as I know only too well. The only thing that carries any weight in court is hard evidence. Music kicks in! But Mr. Naruhodo, what evidence is there to use at this stage in the trial? I have an idea. I don't know whether anything will come of it, but if there was ever a time for using this particular item we have among the evidence, it's now. Still the sword arrow. Alright, so save in case I'm somehow not right about this. This effing music, it's just the same song being redone, but better every time. Oh, listen to that flourish. Okay, take a minute to enjoy that. Holy crap, go!
Take that!
Oh my, yes, Mr. Sholmes asked if you had that with you earlier. We've exposed all of Lord Strongheart's wrongdoing now. I have no doubt that Mr. Sholmes had already deduced exactly how the truth would unfold. I have no doubt that Mr. Sholmes had already deduced exactly how the truth would unfurl. So I think it must be time for the great detective to take center stage, don't you? Yes, absolutely. Let's take the hair by the ears then, and heave. Alright, here goes. Heave! Oh! My dear fellows, must I remind you every time? A gentle tug will suffice. Mr. Sholmes, You're looking in quite the wrong direction, Mr. Naruhodo. Because I'm over here. What? Ah, no, Mr. Naruhodo, he's... What the balls? It's Mr. Sholmes! With a hologram! Okay, now we're just messing around. Let's go. I wasn't expecting you back, Sholmes. Delighted to be here again, Lord Strongheart. What? What is the meaning of this? Bailiff, seize him. Put that man in irons. This is a close court. You've been warned once already, man. Wrong voice, by the way. I knew it. He's a hologram. What the? Well, we can't get on an hold of him, my lord. We just got go right through him. So, oh my god, he's just messing around now. Dancing. Oh my god. Doing the Macarena, but not exactly. Oh yes. Oh my god. I'm afraid your efforts are wasted, you see. The great detective you see before you is composed entirely of light and shadow. An image, if you will. Huh? Miss Naruhodo, I must congratulate you on your fine deductions. Mr. Sholmes, what on earth is... Are you familiar, I wonder, with the invention known as the telephone? Well, yes, I hear that some public telephones have been installed recently in Tokyo. The sound of the speaker's voice is converted to electrical signal and transmitted instantly to another place. Quite, sounds are transmitted, so could not images keep them company, I mused. Iris and I did some modest experimentation to develop such a device specifically for this very day. Modest experimentation, Mr. Sholmes? What a modest description! And somewhat incidentally, I thought we might just as well transmit an entire scene. Somewhat incidentally, Mr. Sholmes? Now you're just being immodest! Do you mean to say that you're not actually here, Sholmes? I knew my trusted partner would have no trouble grasping the concept. Except he's grasping the stand to steady himself after your shock arrival. Poor father. I would have hoped he might have been forewarned, being the great detective's great partner. Leave my courtroom at once. Get out, or I swear to you. Dear me, you on the other hand, Lord Strongheart, appear to have a very poor grasp of the situation. Allow me to reiterate, I am not here. Which would, I hope, lead naturally to one asking, where exactly are you? The very question I was awaiting. I'm at present enjoying the air in a rather splendid garden. A garden? Not just any garden, you understand. A garden at Buckingham Palace. What? You can't be Buckingham Palace. What's Buckingham Palace, Mrs. Sato? I've never heard of it. It's the palace. The palace. Do you ever read the news, Miss Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? Is Iris with you there? Well now, is Iris currently enjoying some tea? With Her Majesty? Her Majesty? Not just any Her Majesty, you understand. Her Majesty the Queen of the British Empire. What? What on earth is this all about? Buckingham Palace is Her Majesty the Queen's residence in London, Miss Naruhodo. Order! Order in the court! I demand immediate silence. Her Majesty the Queen. You can't be... I mean, no. This is some sort of unforgivable, distasteful trickery by a third-rate detective, that's all. Unforgivably distasteful trickery? What an apt description. A close court session attended by elite members of the judiciary is a rare event. I presume that Her Majesty would be more than a little curious about the proceedings. Oh, there it is! So I decided to show her everything from start to finish. Huh? You showed her? Indeed. By dint of the Herlock Sholmes remote cinematograph. Just go. You meddling. This is some kind of nightmare. Just as I appear to be standing before you, regaling you with talk of my latest invention. No doubt you have inferred that the reverse is also true. You don't mean... Her Majesty has seen and heard every moment of the proceedings. I assume there would be no objection after all? Every trial in this country is conducted on the auspices of Her Majesty, as you know. You... I confess I'm quite impatient to hear Her Majesty's opinion. About the unforgivably distasteful trickery in which you've been engaged over the past 10 years? No, I was merely... Oh, so sorry to keep you all waiting. Vicky and I had so much to talk about. Queen Victoria, really? Iris, there you are. In fact, I have a little message here from Her Majesty. A message? Well then, if everyone is sitting comfortably, ahem. Forthwith and with immediate effect, all authority previously afforded to Mel Strongheart is hereby revoked for evermore. Furthermore, he will be prosecuted for crimes against his country in a public trial by jury in the coming days. Oh, well, London's effed. So it seems that Her Majesty doesn't believe we need to fight fire with fire. Oh yes, a lady in a rich house who has no sense of the public ever in her life has an opinion that I guess we should care about. Justice in this country needn't be administered from the shadows at all. Male Strongheart. The darkness you fostered to conceal your despicable actions these past 10 years is a thing of the past now. After today. Now we're at an hour. Jesus, my throat. Your brand of law and order has no future, because no longer are you the Lord Chief Justice. In the eyes of the law, and of Her Majesty the Queen, you are nothing but a criminal! And those are holograms. He's gonna scream 1/3 time. Rule of 3. Adjourned! 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 Court is adjourned! Knew he'd break that. On the fire! Okay, over the fire. Jeez, I thought he was gonna burn to death right there. That's different. Oh, he is gonna burn to death! Oh god! Oh, that's a bad yell. But my throat has been through the ringer, so what are you gonna do? Did he die just now? Did he die screaming in a fire just now? Lord Clint von Zieks left a will in which he confessed to everything. When those words came out of Asogi's mouth, it deranged me completely. I knew I must do anything and everything in my power to contain the situation. But I couldn't find the damn document. I searched his cell, but it wasn't there. I wouldn't know how the sword works yet. Which precipitated the jailbreak plot, I presume? But what do you mean? Here's the thing. Why would you send his stuff home? Wouldn't you confiscate all his stuff, just in case? So I don't know why Strongheart did that. The need to obtain that will was all-consuming. I was sure that if I facilitated Asogi's escape, he would emerge with the will somewhere on his person. But despite searching his limp body in the cemetery that night, it still eluded me. It never even crossed my mind that it was concealed in the sword's hilt. Why would it be? Why would it be cross his mind, right? What pains me now is that my brother left this world without a word to me. I'm sorry, Lord von Zieks. In point of fact, I think perhaps that isn't the case. Sorry? How can that be? There is more to his last will and testament. What? As I confront the prospect of my demise, I feel bitter regret for my younger brother. Barak, you have always looked up to me, and now you follow in my footsteps to become a prosecutor. It is my fervent wish that my unspeakable deeds should not hinder your advancement. I ask not for understanding, for none could understand my depravity. I ask only for your forgiveness. Oh, she was reading it. Natsusogi is a fine detective, and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final two wishes. The first is that his document... First, that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. You may find resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my quill. Lin Van Zieks. Flint. Male Strongheart. You colluded with Sashiro Jigoku in a criminal plot so immense, it spanned the oceans. And you cold-heartedly murdered all those who knew the truth about what happened 10 years ago. But why did you set about that now, a whole decade later? To ascend to the very peak. Huh? These last 10 years made me realize being the Lord Chief Justice wasn't enough. Short of becoming Her Majesty's Attorney General, I could have no real power to effect the changes needed in this country. And for that promotion, I needed to ensure no remnants of the past remained. How could you... I like everything to run smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe, like a well-oiled machine. And I was just a step away. And for your ambition to succeed, did you even bother to count the number of brilliant people you had killed? Mr. Reaper, are you not forgetting something? Such as? You very much adopted your usual prosecutor-like demeanor in the proceedings now. But the reality of the situation is that you are the defendant in this trial. However, the presiding judge would appear to have fallen from the bench, as it were. May I suggest, therefore, that we entrust the final adjudication to an old friend? My lord. I was delivering presents. I'm back now. As a member of the judiciary, I have been following the proceedings from the gallery. And I must say, I shan't ever forget the extraordinary battle between good and evil that I witnessed here today. Should have known he was going to show up at the end. The darkness that has blighted justice in our land these past 10 years has at last been dispelled. Thanks, in no small part, to the efforts of a bright young star from the east. Defense Counsel Naruhodo. Yes, my lord? On behalf of everyone here present in the Old Bailey, I give you my heartfelt thanks. And a present later. You're too kind, my lord. The first time I faced you in court just under a year ago now, had the faintest of intimations that if British justice so warped and just twisted over its long history was finally to change, this might just be the man to do it. What? But at the time, I wouldn't allow myself to acknowledge the possibility. I couldn't overcome my hatred of the Japanese after the circumstances of my brother's death. Mr. Naruhodo. Allow me to apologize for countless discourtesies on my part. You are a lawyer of boundless talent. Oh, Lord Von Zeeks. Huh. When I first arrived in Great Britain, I was literally a nobody, certainly not a lawyer. The truth is, my fortunes have entirely been made by the miraculous people I've met. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who led me here to Britain in the first place. My loyal and ever-patient judicial assistant, Mr. Sato, who helped me study to become a lawyer. The brilliant Lord Von Zeeks, who never failed to challenge his Nipponese rival. And not to mention, the exceptional master of logic and reasoning who showed me the true art of deduction, Mr. Sholmes. Saving the best for last, Mr. Naruhodo? What a relief. I'm well aware. What about the little girl, huh? Hey, buddy, how about her, huh? I'm well aware that without all these people's help and support, I wouldn't be where I am today. The truth is a guiding light that always leads to happiness. I've lived by that principle for a long time now. But actually, it's not true. The truth can also cause great pain, sometimes even leave people on the brink of despair. And for that reason, there are those who feel the need to hide the truth, who do it instinctively even. But as soon as we allow our eyes to settle on something other than the truth, the darkness takes hold. And from there it grows until eventually, it makes us blind to the guiding light of the truth altogether. So that's why it's my belief that we must all resolve never to avert our eyes from what is just and true. Okay, what was the need for that? So that we can continue to walk the straight and narrow path ahead. Well, I must excuse myself now. But before I go, Miss Naruhodo, let me compliment you on your grand opus. What? Without your beautifully composed case against Lord Strongheart, Her Majesty would have been unable to act. Thanks to you and your fellows, haunting undertones corrupting Britain's justice system have been silenced. Thank you very much. So until our paths cross again somewhere... Well then, it would appear that this long trial has finally come to an end. My apologies for any anxiety caused, my lord. I'm quite sure we shall meet again here in the courtroom before long, Prosecutor Baroque Von Zeeks. In conclusion of these proceedings, I hereby declare the defendant Baroque Von Zeeks hella guilty. Not a guilty. Ah, who's still the confetti? And the fireworks, for God's sakes.